welcome to the Lily Pad podcast. My name is April, your host. Thank you for tuning in. It's October 17th. It's almost 1 o'clock. It is a glorious but chilly Saturday afternoon. I haven't been doing too much today. I think I went out. Oh, let me rephrase that. I went out to get my iced coffee earlier. And I'm down here now, and like I said, we're almost 1 o'clock, and shortly we'll be calling Colleen. Haven't talked to her in a very long time. We're going to catch up, chit-chat about things, and we're going to get right into the best discussion ever, and it's about, it's about the best holiday ever, and that is Halloween. It is going to be the first of the Halloween episode series I have coming up the next couple of weeks. Tomorrow we'll be speaking with Mark. Wednesday, I believe the date is, I will be speaking to Derek as well. Lucy is also going to be coming up on the show as well, my friend Jay. So we just have to get those last couple of people scheduled. So I'm looking forward to it. I was going to try to combine everything in one episode, but let's just make it, like part 1, part 2, things like that. So it'll be Halloween and catching up with Colleen momentarily. So that being said, if you guys have any stories you want to share, whether they're good or not so good, scary, any of it, email me, April at thelilypadpodcast.com or thelilypadpodcast@gmail.com. I want to hear all of your stories, and when we come back, we'll be speaking with Colleen, so don't go anywhere. All right, we are back. Hope you guys are doing well. So it's time to call our friend Colleen. So here we go. Let's see, I have part of the number dial. Let's put the last 4 in and see how this goes. All right, let's do this. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Is this Colleen?
This is.
Hey, girl.
April. Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Do you have me on speaker by chance?
I do not.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Sometimes I'm still getting used to doing calls through this. I have like a console on my laptop, and I'm getting used to doing calls with it. So everybody sounds a little different. Sometimes people sound like they're on a speakerphone or in a tunnel. So I always like to ask right at the beginning. So how are you before anything?
I'm good. Good. Yeah, we're hanging in, dealing with the craziness of the world.
I know. It's been completely insane these days. I can't even get over how...
I still keep saying, I can't believe this is real life.
I know. It
seems like the plot of a terrible movie.
It really is. It's called 2020, and hopefully not 2021.
Oh, and that's what people are saying now. Everybody keeps saying, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. I want to see some terms and conditions on 2021 before I accept.
Yeah, I'm not signing anything.
Yeah, no.
We should actually check and see if we're going to be in Mercury retrograde when that happens too. See how the new year comes in.
We are now, right?
I think, yes, we are actually till like the 3rd.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, it's always a good time. It's always a good time. But I was thinking about it after we, messaged online saying we're going to chit chat. I'm saying to myself, oh my God, I haven't talked to her in a really long time, years. And so, other than, little conversations online.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it probably was, we ran into each other in the store one time.
I think so. I believe so.
I think
it's probably the market. Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you guys are doing really well. So before we get into the actual reason, well, not that we need a reason to talk, but the podcast for Halloween, of course. Yeah. But only because we are still in the pandemic. And if you don't mind, is it okay if we talk about what you do for a living?
Of course.
So you are a nurse. Are you an RN?
I'm an LPN.
LPN. Okay. So I guess, it's just been, I want to thank you personally, because you guys never really had the opportunity to, well, basically, be in lockdown because you're a healthcare provider. So you're you're essential. You are the most essential type personnel that there is these days. So before we get into any other conversation, I just want to thank you for doing all that you do, because I know sometimes it's not that you were doing it because you wanted to be thanked, but it's nice to be acknowledged that you guys are, you guys are heroes. And I'm not, just saying that, but it's just because I know I've had family that's been sick. I feel that I lost an uncle earlier this year, and we kind of came to the summation that was probably COVID that got him, but it was right before everything really kind of surfaced, so to speak.
There's a lot of people saying that they had, the exact same symptoms that we know now is COVID, that they had them, earlier in the year.
Oh, absolutely.
And it may well could have been. I mean, the thing about this virus that's so scary is that it truly affects every body differently. We lost a lot of patients. We did. We lost a lot of evidence.
And you don't mind talking about this, right? I probably should have asked you first.
No,
okay.
No, I don't. We lost a lot of residents, but there was absolutely no rhyme or reason. I have a 100-year-old lady who beat it.
Oh my God, that's
amazing. And then
amazing.
we lost people in their 50s.
That's the scariest part. Like you said, it hits everybody different. Oh my goodness!
Every body reacts differently. I didn't get it, thank God. The woman that works in the office with me did, and
my goodness!
And here's the thing: so she's like 10 years younger than I am.
Yeah. She
exercises religiously. She eats really, really well. I do not do either of those things. She was on her back for 7 days before she even felt well enough to sit on the couch for the next 7 days.
Yeah.
And she is young and very healthy. And then there's people that get it and don't have a single symptom.
It's right.
They didn't even know.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I lost the company I worked for did a layoff back the week of March 20th when everything basically went down. Mm-hmm. And part of me saw it coming. Part of me, I'd say about 10% of me saw it coming. 90% of me, was surprised because of the nature of what we did. Like we were a purchasing agent, so I've been in purchasing for years, and we were buying for biotech companies and startup companies that had labs and did a lot of R&D. So I figured, we might not be in a predicament, but it turned out we did, and which is fine. I can't remember. I have never been unemployed this long in my entire life, since before I got my worker's permit at 15, however old it is, you can start working. I've always had some sort of job, but it's just they laid off like a group of us, and it is what it is. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it. There is something you could always do if the option is there, of course. But for me personally, honestly, at my age, and I people sometimes get nervous to say what their age is, but I don't care. I just turned 48. I'm almost a half a century, and I'm like very fortunate that I've made it this far. But at this point in the game, it's kind of like 2020 with the pandemic and with watching all of this on TV and about people getting sick and things like that. It's really put my mind in a mindset that I've never been in before. It's completely uncharted territories. It's the kind of thinking, and you might be able to relate to this too, is I'm thinking so far outside the box than I'm normally doing, because I'm thinking, what are my next 20 years going to be like? Because this pandemic is changing everything, including my future.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and add to that, a 3-year-old.
Yes. Oh my God, she's so cute. Oh my God, she is a button. She is. Oh, she is seriously. She is such an adorable little girl. Oh my goodness. Who is she like more? Did she pick your personality or Russ's?
So she is a lot like me in a lot of things. And she's very, very smart. She loves books.
Oh, good.
She loves music. She loves Halloween. Like, all of those things are very me.
Yeah.
She has Russell's stubbornness and his temper.
Whoops.
And we'll look right at each other. She'll do something, whatever it is, whether it's, you know, she like makes her own songs.
Aww.
She'll just start
She's
singing
creative.
songs, or she'll pick a melody, you know, to something that we sing, and she just starts her own words to it. Which
That's impressive. That's impressive.
She's brilliant. And if
Yeah.
anybody's ever seen me in karaoke, I was kind of known for changing the words to songs. But anyway,
I do the same thing.
That's you. You know that, right? Like that was all you. That she has my facial expressions, which is kind of scary.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's very much a mix of both of us, and it's fun to sort of pick it apart. You know, where did she get that from? Where did she get that from?
Oh, that's great.
She's fun, but like you said, you know, to your point about the future, I don't know what school is going to look like for her.
Yeah.
You know, is this ever going to go away? Is it ever going to get better? I mean, she goes to an education-based daycare. 3 days a week, and they're great about the sanitizing. You know, everybody has to wear masks. The kids don't have to, but they have to wear these. Yeah. They have to wear these hats with a face guard. You know,
really? Okay.
Yeah, and they're ugly. One of my friends said it makes her look like a Lego head. You know how the Lego people, the heads are like this yellow.
I love Legos.
Yeah, so I'll send you a picture later. It does kind of look like a Lego head, you know. But she has to wear that all day. So I don't know what real public school is going to look like by the time she gets there.
Yeah, it is scary. I mean, in colleges and things like that. I mean, my friend, he has a daughter who is 16 now, and I met her when she was 8 or 9, and I wish I knew her when she was teeny tiny, but I didn't, which is totally fine. I met her when I was supposed to. And she is basically like, if I was to actually give birth to someone in this lifetime, she would be my kid.
No.
She and I clicked so much too. She's really a wonderful young woman because she's 16 now. But I went to see her earlier. I would say maybe it was May. It was starting to get really nice out. And, you know, sometimes she just will reach out to me. We have each other's cell. Like one time I was at my friend Bridget's house, and I literally had just sat down. It was a Friday night, and I got a text from her, and she said, well, first of all, I never heard her text like this before because, you know, now she's older. She likes to swear. And these, you know, she used to threaten to tell her dad on me because I would accidentally say a swear when she was a kid. She goes, I'm going to tell my dad. I'm like, go ahead. But so now she kind of has the, you know, teenager vocabulary once in a while. So she says, I really need to see you. The shit's hitting the fan. Ugh. And she's like, can I sleep over? And I'm like, she's in high school and wants to sleep over my house. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? So I looked at Bridget. I said, I have to go. My kid's calling. So I left Bridget's house and she slept over and we just chit-chatted, and she was just, you know, she needed a vent. And it made me feel so good inside because she came to me. Yeah. And when I first started seeing her, like watching her when her dad was working and whatnot, because, you know, unfortunately, Mom wasn't in the picture. So he was taking on the roles of Mom and Dad, you know. Yeah. So when I first started watching her, I had asked him, I said, what am I allowed to talk to her about if she ever came to me? Because I don't want to, you know, she's not my kid. I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to. Right. He says, I trust you. You can talk to her about anything. I said, okay, well, and then I made him a promise. I said, well, if she ever tells me anything that I feel you need to know, I'm going to tell you. Because if I feel like it might be damaging her, even though it would kill me to breach her trust, but her safety is more important. Absolutely. You know, and and he always, you know, trusted me in that respect. So she reached out to me over the summer. She really wanted to see me. And I said, well, I'm not working, so let's meet up. So we met up outside and by a lake near her house. So she walked and she met me there. And we sat on a bench, you know, 6 feet away. And oh, no, I'm sorry. That was the second time. The first time I met her on the sidewalk, we were just standing there. But we were 6 feet away, and she broke down. And she was so upset about everything. And I'm saying to myself, I couldn't imagine if this happened when we were kids. And she was so upset. And I broke my rule. I said, I'm sorry, I have to hug you. I had to give her a hug. And I hugged her and I said, listen, I said, it's going to be okay. And I looked at her. I said, let me ask you one very important question. And she said, what? I said, when you started feeling this kind of anxiety and these strong feelings, I said, was it when the pandemic started? And she said, yes. I said, remember that. Remember the source. Remember where this is coming from. I said, I looked at her, I said, I don't think you're messed up in the head. I said, we're all always a little messed up. We all have times in our lives where we feel a little, scratching your head like, oh, crap. I told her, I said, but you're also a teenager. I said, so, you come to me and you talk to your dad, and if you ever need to talk to your dad about something and you want me there. But the poor girl, and I told her, I said, you're stronger than you're giving yourself credit for. But I can't imagine what it was like for them. She literally broke down not even a minute after I saw her. I said, hi, honey, and she just lost it. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's terrible. And to expect these kids to adapt.
Yeah.
So my mom was watching Daisy 2 days a week, and she was going to the school 2 days a week. I only work 4 days a week. So the school closed down, and my mom was watching her until we got our first positive case at work.
Oh, God.
My mom is compromised, and we agreed. I was never going to be the reason. I wasn't putting her at risk any more than I was putting anybody else at risk.
Absolutely.
So my work was fantastic. They let me adjust my hours, so I would stay home with her. I'd work a couple hours from home, which is interesting with, a then 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And then Russell would go home. I'd put her down for a nap, and I'd have maybe an hour, and he would get home, and I would leave for work.
Wow.
And we did that for months.
Yeah.
And, when we finally started going back, it was probably 2 weeks before the school reopened that she started back to see my mom. I wasn't going into the house. We kind of did a transfer on the street, which it's kind of silly, but at the same time, it made people feel better. So I thought she would have a hard time going back to school. She did not.
Oh,
These
good.
kids are so resilient.
Yeah, it's youth for you.
I think we struggle more because we know more. We know, how bad it could be, or, we're always thinking 17 steps ahead. These kids are so resilient.
Oh, that's
They're
awesome.
going to be okay. I fear more for, the maybe 12 to 20-year-olds, that group.
Yes.
They're starting to think they know everything. They don't need a mask. They don't need to do this. This is not a big deal. The younger kids understand a little bit more. Oh, that's germs. Mom said that's germs. I can't touch it. That's germs.
Because they're still in the stage where what mom says is final, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And as they get older, and they know everything. I'm 16. I'm an adult. I know.
Oh, yeah. And they're invincible.
Yes, and that's the other piece. They don't think it's going to touch them.
Yeah, no, it's...
when I was working, when it was, our building was hit the hardest, I went into work, I would stop at Dunkin' Donuts on my way, and I'd get a tea. And that's the cup that I brought in with me, and I threw it away before I left. My keys stayed in my pocket. My phone was in a Ziploc bag.
Oh, yeah.
When I left work,
I lost you for a second.
Oh.
No, you're
I
good
changed my shoes. I carried a can of Lysol in the car.
Oh, yeah.
I came into my house through the garage, stripped in the basement, put on a different outfit. My clothes went right into the washer. I Lysoled, wiped, sprayed, everything. It stayed down there. I went upstairs. I took a shower. Everything that I had touched went right back downstairs and into the washer. And then I would sanitize my hands, and then I could see my family.
Yeah. That's kind of similar to what I did in the beginning as well. I mean, I still do a lot of that. I just don't strip down on the porch like I was before. I usually go in and take a shower, but they said the clothes, it's not as I guess it's not as bad with the clothes or something.
No,
So
it's not. It doesn't seem to be really living on surfaces.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, most viruses, they need to feed on something
Right.
to survive. And clothing and surfaces, there's nothing really there for them to feed on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I wasn't
oh, wow.
super worried about that. My shoes, obviously, because I'm in a nursing home.
Mm.
You know, Lord knows what you're going to step in. It's not just COVID that you worry about then.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Yeah.
You
well,
know?
yeah. I mean, I kept my mother under lock and key for months. My poor mother. The only thing I let her do was go get the mail, and then she'd spray it, and it stayed in the porch for like 2 days. I do all the food shopping now, and it's just because she's 77, so I try not to. I socialized in the summer to a certain extent. I really didn't go into people's homes very often. We stayed outside. If I get Dunkin's, I have hand sanitizer, spray hand sanitizer, and wipes in my Jeep at all times. And if I get a coffee, I wipe down the cup. You know, if I even open the straw and I like halfway without touching the straw, I take the straw out with my mouth and then I sanitize my hands before I touch the straw. Like, sanitize everything before it comes in the house, or we let it sit outside for a couple days. You know, I used to tease my mother that if she started to slack with the protocol, that I'd keep her out on the porch for 2 days before I let her in.
There you go. My poor mother. My brother was finishing his residency at a hospital in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. The worst hospital in New Jersey.
Oh.
And he's an ER doc.
Oh, wow.
So he was in the thick of it. He would just text us. He's like, "This is not the flu. People need to understand. This is serious." Like, he sent me a picture that one of his colleagues took of him actually intubating someone.
Oh, God.
There's no HIPAA breach. You can't see their face.
Oh, good.
But they used plastic sheeting. I mean, it literally looked like a clear shower curtain.
Oh, my God.
That they were like wrapping around themselves to protect against this. I mean, it was.
Ugh.
We were terrified. He literally got home and stripped naked outside on his porch in the middle of Jersey City before he was in the house. I mean, all went out the window.
Yeah. Oh,
Sorry
my God.
to neighbors, you know, he's definitely seen the worst of it.
Oh, I guess. It sounds, it's very unnerving. Everything has changed. And to be perfectly honest, and like I said, I know we're still going to talk about Halloween. We're going to go from this horrible horror story to the fun horror side. But, if you don't mind me asking, and like I said, we can wrap this conversation and we'll go into the fun stuff in a sec, but what are your thoughts, on the vaccine that they're working on? I mean, they say that there's one coming out in November. For me personally, I don't even, and I hope you don't yell at me because, well, you might, but I don't even get a regular flu shot because I don't trust them to begin with. I don't like the thought of something being shot into me that I don't really know what it is. But do you, because it's so new in its testing stages, it's kind of hard to really determine the long-term effects, I guess, is what I'm more or less concerned about with any flu shot. What are your thoughts? Because I mean, you're right in you're in the medical field, so I know you probably have a much more medical scientific theory on it than myself, somebody who's not really in that.
Yeah. So I actually had a nurse practitioner that I worked with pass along an article that was written by some CDC type people, and they made some really good points. The chicken pox is a virus. Yes. You get it, you're okay. You think there's no big deal, no issues. Years later, you might get the shingles. It is the same virus. So that's a long-term effect of a not so bad virus.
Okay. I never thought of it like that. Okay, yeah. Because I know the shingles is the same, but I didn't think of that.
Virus. Yeah. So it lays dormant in your system until it's aggravated again, and then you get the shingles, which are very painful. They're not, life-threatening, but they're uncomfortable. Um, hepatitis C, same thing. You can get it, you can live, you can be fine, and then years later, your liver's gone.
Ouch.
But that's years later.
Right.
HIV, same sort of thing. It lives in you. It's a virus. It lives in you, and you're okay. You're functioning just fine, and years later, you have all of these other, issues that come up. So for them to say, we're going to give you a vaccine, now a vaccine is generally an inactivated virus. So they're giving you a piece of the virus in hopes that your body will fight off the real virus.
And that's why a lot of people sometimes say they get sick after getting the regular flu shot. It's because they're getting the flu. And well, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Again, another angle I didn't even think of, how you just described that. That's actually scary to think of it like that.
So my concern with this vaccine is, if this has long-term effects and we don't know, now you're giving it to me when I might not have gotten it otherwise.
Right.
That's my fear.
Right, because I'm not on board with taking the vaccine. Not yet, if at all.
I'm not going to be given a choice.
Right, because
all healthcare personnel are going to be forced. I can see it coming. All healthcare personnel are going to be forced to take this vaccine when the FDA approves it. I can see it coming.
Yeah, see, that's the part that makes me nervous. I don't want anybody, and I don't think it's right that anybody should be forced to take something like that. I mean, I understand that, like you said, you're in the healthcare field, but you should still not be forced. I mean, that's a human right. I'm sorry, I don't want that.
Well, the thing is, and I understand, because I've been in management for a while. I understand where these things come from. Yes, you as a person have the right to decide what's going into your body, 100% hands down.
Yeah.
This is your job, is to be in close contact with people who are a lot of times immunocompromised. They're not well, and you pose a risk to them. So you do not have the right to put somebody else in harm's way.
True.
Which I understand.
Yeah.
That goes back. I mean, the mask debate is essentially the same thing.
Right.
It's the easiest way to protect somebody else, and it's the most selfish thing to refuse to wear it. Is it a rights thing? I'm not going there, because I'm not going there.
Right.
But I think it's a humanity thing.
Right.
I think it shows what sort of a selfish person you are if you refuse to do something so simple that can protect your fellow human.
Well, see, that's an argument that I like to hear, because I kind of, exactly what you said. It's kind of like, it's like myself. I'm not ready to take a flu shot, but it'd be like, well, it's the same concept of me seeing a person go to a store without a mask on. You're not taking an effort to help protect other people.
Right.
And it does bother me when I see people walk into stores without a mask. I mean, I won't say anything. I just, but there is a point of view that I think is a very strong one, because those are the reasons why I would want to take the flu shot. Because up until now, I've never.
Not to protect me.
Right. It's to protect.
It's to protect people that I come in close contact with, who may not be as healthy as I am.
Right.
It's just that I'm healthy is my theory.
It's definitely an argument, not an argument, but a conversation, and a very good debatable one too, where I like to see both sides, and so I'm really glad that you put it in those words, because it's a different perspective that a lot of people may never even think of, But we're not going to go into the serious realm anymore, because we're going to talk basically about why we're going to, initially for the conversation as well, because I want to do all the fun stuff. But I thought of it the other day. I'm like, I haven't talked to her. We're probably going to catch up. And then, because I know you're a nurse and everything, so I thought it would be a good little discussion. But let's just go right into Halloween, girl. So this is your favorite holiday, right, of all time?
I love it. Yep.
Now,
always has been. I decorate more for Halloween than I do for Christmas.
You know, a lot of people do. I mean, some of those decorations are insane. In fact, I heard on the radio, I think it was, which radio show it was? It was one of the morning shows. I was going to my doctor's appointment. I'm having surgery in a week. Anyway. They were talking about, I think it was a house in California that they had, like, they rigged it. It looked like their house was on fire. And it was so realistic that somebody called the fire department.
I saw that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you saw it?
Today where somebody yep. I saw one today where someone put a giant spider web from the top of their roof down to the front lawn, and they had an animatronic spider, gigantic, climbing back and forth.
Okay, that's cool. That is cool.
It's amazing. Not my speed. I don't like bugs, but if I saw a giant spider, I might have a panic attack. But
like, we're moving.
I love the idea. Yes, basically.
I saw one where it was a giant Grim Reaper that was literally the size of their house. And it looked like it was climbing over the back of their house, and you just saw the big giant skeleton head and like the arm that extended to like the other end of the house. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I sent it to my brother. I said, Mom won't let me do this.
I can't understand why.
I don't know why. I mean, she has to deal with the fact that I have skulls and Day of the Dead stuff all over the place anyway. So I'm like, why not just add it to the house?
If she's not used to it now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different, you know, having Daisy. Hi, Daisy. It's a little bit different. Cutie. You know, I don't go as spooky with her.
Oh, yeah.
So we have, go ahead, baby, Daddy's calling you. So we have some inflatables in the front yard that are more, you know, her speed.
Yes.
But I still have all kinds of indoor decorations that I just love.
Oh, me too. I have one that I keep out. It's my friends gave it to me for a birthday. It's like an orange metal. It almost looks like a flower pot, but it's not quite a flower pot. And inside of it is this black tree that has LED lights, but purple bats on it. It's the cutest thing ever.
Oh, so cute.
I never put it away. It's part of the studio, which nobody sees anymore because I can't have company.
Well, true. I have a couple of little witches that are out all year long, but
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I cleaned off my whole mantle. All the pictures on the mantle, you know, all the really important ones there in a box in the closet, and all my Halloween stuff took over.
Is she going to dress up at all this year? Like, because I know that they're doing some stuff for trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I'm not sure what trick-or-treat is going to look like. Russell does want to do the candy chute on the staircase. You know, it's a 6-foot PVC pipe, and we'll put the candy in the top, and it'll shoot down into, you know, the kids' buckets. If
all right, that's cool.
Allows trick-or-treating.
I'll come. Yeah. I'll come. I'll dress up
definitely.
Just sit there at the end of the shoot.
I've seen some people tape candy bars to popsicle sticks and plant them in their yard so kids can come by and trick-or-treat.
Now that's cute too.
Yeah, my cousin's out in Oregon. So because of the fires and whatnot, my aunt and uncle are staying with some of their kids, and their other kids are bringing the girls to the house, and everybody's going to be in a different room behind the door, and they're going to knock on the door, and they're going to trick-or-treat room to room. Oh,
that's cute.
Yeah, some people are doing like an Easter egg type hunt.
All right, yeah, so you're getting creative with that so that the kids don't lose out entirely. That's nice.
It might actually be a cooler Halloween, you know, for some of the kids who know the difference. You know, probably like 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Daisy, she doesn't know. I mean, she knows trick-or-treating, but she dresses up in her Halloween costume, you know, because it's a Tuesday and she likes it, so it doesn't really matter. She has 2. She has Captain Marvel.
Oh, nice.
Which she loves to wear. I don't love it as much when she wears that one because then I have blue sparkly glitter all over the house.
Oh, yeah, glitter never goes away. That's there forever.
And we have a black cat, so then he, like, walks around with blue sparkles. And
oh, that's cute.
So I end up with a fabulous kitty.
That's sweet. She is adorable. You know what's funny is I actually asked my mom yesterday. I'm like, do you remember any of my costumes when I was a little kid? Because when I was a small kid, I mean, I think I was a cowgirl once. I don't remember the costumes I dressed up in. I know we went trick-or-treating because we did, but I was small. And I actually don't remember. I remember, Halloween when I was in high school a little more, where people would have Halloween parties.
Right.
And
right. Well, you were in control of that too.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. I remember the plastic
mask
outfits that you put over your clothes with the mask that you put on that you can't breathe.
Yes.
I remember those.
Yes. Well, maybe I was a princess because I do remember wearing those masks with the little teeny tiny elastic that goes around the back of your head.
Yeah, and it snaps on your head when you put it on. Yeah, and you can't breathe.
Like hell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There were a few years of those. Oh. And I remember, I don't know how old I had to be probably 5 or 6. And we went with my cousins who were a little bit older than me, and they had these costumes that, again, it was like stepping into a piece of plastic for the clothes, but the head was inflatable.
Oh.
So it's sort of like suction cupped to your head.
Interesting.
And then you had this giant inflatable top. And they scared the life out of me. I literally had about that.
They sound scary, complicated.
All these years later, I still remember those with fear.
That's funny. You want to know the most horrible thing that I did when it came to Halloween? I was a freshman in high school, and it's not my prouder moment, but it was me and a couple of kids. We dressed up. I don't remember what I dressed up as, but we dressed up and we went from like town to town, and we went trick or treating in various neighborhoods. And I only did this once, and this was probably the punk in me, and I'm really not a punk, but somebody...
we all have a little...
Right. And the person left out, and it was towards the end of the night. It wasn't like in the beginning of trick-or-treating, but for some reason, this person still had a full bowl of candy. So I emptied the bowl in my pillowcase, because I had a pillowcase for my candy bag. I had a half of a pillowcase filled of candy that year. And I said, I think I'm probably going to stop trick-or-treating because this is clearly not healthy for me.
It's never healthy. It's about the fun. It's about the adventure.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it was just one house because most people, we were still, by the time we got to this neighborhood, it was towards the end of the night. So maybe they threw all the candy in the bowl and let people take it. But I emptied that whole bowl. It was so horrible. I'm like, how selfish of me. At the time, I didn't care. I was a kid. But I think about it now, and I'm like, ugh, hoarder.
Right.
I miss candy. I don't eat candy very often anymore.
I'll say, oh my, I really want one, and then I eat it, and I'm like, no, that was a bad idea. Like, I don't even feel good.
Yeah, and it doesn't even taste as good as it used to.
No, it doesn't.
It's not. My taste buds have changed. Yeah.
It may take the candy out of Halloween, but it will never take the fun out of Halloween.
No, and I always think about what Halloween means to people, because a lot of people don't like this particular holiday. I like it because of the whole thin veil aspect of it and how it has a very colorful history. Because it is a very... Whoops, my phone is blowing up today. Oh, I have to pay my phone bill.
Ah, there you go.
It's due tomorrow. I have another day. I'll do it later. I just, the glorious technology these days that we didn't have when we were kids. A couple of buttons on the phone, bill is paid. But yeah, a lot of people have a very huge spiritual connection to it, and not even so much that and respect, but that they would say, like I said, the veil is at its thinnest at this time. Is anything ever out of the ordinary happen to you more this time of year versus, say, any other time of year, or does nothing ever kind of...
I will say there were a number of years, and I honestly can't even remember when it stopped, but every year around this time I would have this recurring nightmare.
Oh.
Which is weird, right? There were two different recurring nightmares that literally scared me awake. And it happened every year the last couple weeks of the month.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Isn't that insane? It's crazy. And I'm sure it means something. I don't know what it means, but I haven't had them in years, but I still remember them.
And you don't remember when it stopped?
No.
Huh.
No.
Let's
I don't
think.
remember when it stopped. I still remember the dreams. And even in remembering it, I get anxious.
So if there's anything, and obviously we don't have to get into details because I don't want you to get anxious or anything, but if there's anything in those dreams that stick out to you most, like say like an item you saw or something or a feeling that you felt, you know, especially if it's something that, you know, you see in this dream or nightmare, I should say, that sticks out the most, see if there's any symbolism behind it. Maybe it can relate to something you were experiencing. Do you remember when they started? I forgot, did you say how long ago they started?
I don't remember when they started, but I mean, I'd have to guess somewhere around, you know, my early teenage years.
Oh, okay. Oh, well,
I had to guess, but I mean, I had them every year for probably 10 years. I mean, into my 20s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you resolved whatever was going on at that, you know.
Maybe.
Something could have been resolved and you were able to.
Every now and then I would have the second one.
Oh, okay.
The second one has to do with driving into water.
Oh.
The first one terrifies the hell out of me, and I don't want to talk about it. But
we don't.
The second one, it always involves driving into water in one way or another. Usually in Boston.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Like one of the bridges in Boston, and it goes down instead of going across, and I go down into the water, and then I wake up.
Interesting. So, did you ever look up the symbolism of what that means? Because I just did.
No.
I'm also a very nosy pain in the butt sometimes. So if I ever get overbearing or overwhelming, I tell my friends and everybody that knows me, you can say, too much, April, and I will back off. But no, a lot of the times if like that sticks out to you, like you look up the symbolism and it could say, oh, you know, and I won't read it now, but if you put driving into water symbolism, it'll bring up a little blurb that maybe, you know, might resonate with you on some level. Because a lot of the times dreams, from experience, of course, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but a lot of the times dreams are more symbolic than literal. And sometimes they are literal. Sometimes exactly what you dream can happen. You know, I've had plenty of those.
Yeah.
I've also plenty of things that have, you know, I see something happening and then it happens, even if it's like 5 years down the road. I'm like, wait a minute, I know this, you know?
Right.
But a lot of the times the dreams are symbolic, and you might have been going through or experiencing something that your dreams were trying to help provide some answers for. So that's always something to look into as well.
That one comes back in different sort of scenarios. It's usually with me driving.
Yeah.
And, you know, first, for whatever reason, it's not always the Boston Bridge one.
Okay.
That's the one that happened, always happened the last 2 weeks of the month around the same time as the other one.
Oh, okay.
But now it's usually driving off a different road, but I always end up in the water.
Okay. So the driving in the water is pretty much the big things there. Yeah,
no, so that probably is like something that, you know, some sort of scenario in my life that's popping back up.
It's possible. Yeah, absolutely. I used to have a dream. It didn't necessarily happen in October, but it was a dream where my teeth were falling out. And
I've had them.
And I looked at the symbology of it, and I meditated on it. I said, okay, because I had the dream a few times. It wasn't, you know, all the time, and it wasn't excruciatingly scary, but it was just my teeth were coming out, and I would see them in my hand. I'm like, okay, this obviously means something. I'm like, all right. And so I figured it out, and when I resolved the part of my life that really resonated with the dream, I never had the dream again. It was very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. So sometimes, you know, and subconsciously, you know, you may have resolved the issue from the one you don't have anymore at all. So it's very possible you've moved on or healed from something, which is always nice. Because
that's progress.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it takes time, as we all know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna just ask you straight out because I think I remember the answer to this. Are you a believer in the spirit realm, like the whole paranormals? Okay, so I remember you saying something like that. This was a long time ago, and I wanted to make sure I remembered correctly. I am too. I'm a huge firm believer in spirits and the paranormal and things like that. Have you ever had any? Because I bring it up mainly because, like I said, the Halloween. One of the aspects of Halloween is that the veil is at its thinnest, so a lot of the times we are contacted more easily by our loved ones or people that we've known over the years. Anything like that ever happened to you, or anything that you can think of?
Yeah. So at my last, not my last apartment, but the one before that, I had done an overnight at work. So I came home to sleep, and I had a sleep mask, to keep it dark. And I laid down in bed, and I usually, have my blanket up around my chin or something. And it felt like somebody sat on the bed next to me to the point where it moved my blanket down.
Interesting.
And of course, I'm at this point half asleep, and I panic a little because I can't see because I forget that I have the mask on. And I just pushed it up, and I looked around, and there's nobody there, but I can see an imprint of a bottom on my sheet next to my leg, and it just said, "I'm too tired to deal with this. Please leave me alone." And I pulled the sheet right up over my head, and I went to sleep.
So can you get me during the day?
I gotta go to sleep. I can't deal with you. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, now's not a good time.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's very interesting, and it is frightening because I've had a couple of things happen while I was sleeping too, and it's weird because when you're at rest, you're not expecting anything to happen. I had my leg tugged once, and a spirit, like I could feel a spirit, like you not necessarily just sit on the bed, they jumped on the bed next to me, like they were running from someone, and scared me out of my wits awake. And I live in the house that my mom grew up in, and my grandparents, my family's the only ones who have lived in this house. So this was my grandparents' house. I love this house. And so my Nana, I still sometimes hear her walking down the hallway. She'll my mother's the lady of the house, but my Nana was the first lady of the house. And is that Daisy?
That's Daisy.
She's so cute. Hi, honey.
Say hi, April. Hi.
Hi, honey. Aw.
We're talking about Halloween. Halloween.
Love it. Love it.
Spooky. Yeah. Don't jump, honey. Paw Patrol knife. Okay. Ooh, spooky. Walking knife. Yeah. All right. All right. Go tell me what happens, okay? I'll be in a minute.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute. Yeah, we'll wrap it up between now and 2. We'll keep it like about an hour, which is this way I don't take up your whole day. But long story short, I can still hear my Nana walking down the house, the hall. It's like she's the first lady of the house. My mother is the lady because she's, So I remember this one time I was sleeping, and I felt like it was more of like that twilight sleep because I was starting to dream, but part of me was conscious. It was a kind of a weird sleep. And all of a sudden I felt someone literally jump in a bed behind me, scared me awake, and mentally I screamed out, "Nana." And I could hear her heavy-footed down that hall saying, "Who just scared my granddaughter?" And I'm like, she scared me because I could physically hear her running, and I'm like, okay, my mother's asleep, so obviously it wasn't her. Oh my gosh. And it's scary, and it was just this. I don't even know who the spirit was. I could tell that they were running from something. So I think that was just like one of those passerbyers that just happened to find their way to me. And one time there were 2 spirits at the edge of my bed, and they, like when, and I know what a leg cramp is, but when someone like tugs your foot. So like say if you were holding like you by the ankle, you just did like a little yank. That's what they did to my leg. And I opened my eyes and I said, that wasn't a leg cramp. And I heard them scuffle away all scared because I scared them.
So something like that happened to Russell.
Really?
When we had first started dating, and he was staying at my house, and the apartment that I had the same issue.
Oh.
Yeah. He was like, "Did you just grab my leg?" I'm like, "You're 6'2", and my hands are at the top of the bed. Like, no, I didn't touch your leg. He's like, "You just literally pulled my leg," and I was like, "Well, tell him to stop."
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you do, right? It's like,
right.
You're not welcome here. Like,
yeah. I mean, and that's
exactly
what you do if, and have a safe word. I have a friend who was always interested in it, but sometimes he would, it would get too overwhelming. So I told him, I said, just say a safe word. Just let them know that if I say this word, you need to kind of back off. One time I came home, my cat, and she's been gone 6 years this year, but I came home and I felt an energy in my yard, like around my house, that it wasn't a good energy. It was rather negative. And I've never felt a negative energy in this house ever. And I haven't since. So I come in the house and I could just, when you feel like someone's watching you. And I always say, if I'm doing any work with the spirit, like, if you're not here for my highest good, then you are not welcome. You you say that initially with anything. So I came to the house, I went in my room, and my cat was standing on the bed facing the door to my room, and I never seen her stand like this, and I've never felt this energy from her before. She was standing between me and whatever this energy was, and she was in complete protective mode of me, and I could feel the energy. I said, "Whoever you are, you're not welcome here. You leave and never come back." And within seconds, it cleared, and she went back to normal, and I was like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
And it was just, I've never felt a negative energy like those, that accident when I was sleeping. I didn't sense negativity or evil or anything, and it wasn't, it was just not it didn't jive what I was feeling, but, it's interesting, and I love that you're open-minded to that, and that you've experienced that, because a lot of people aren't, and that's totally fine. I mean, everybody has a right to feel how they want to feel.
What they can't see.
Exactly, and I mean,
they need a concrete to explain anything away.
Absolutely.
I believe in energy.
Me too.
I can see it. I can feel it. I'm very much empathic.
I was just going to ask you if you are.
Yeah, crowds are hard.
Yes,
and that's where, in the beginning of the pandemic, Russell did everything. He went shopping every week. He anything that had to be done outside, he did, because I couldn't. I couldn't protect myself against that much panic. I couldn't watch the news. It was
intense.
Too much.
Yes.
And I still have days where it's, all right, I gotta go. But now I sort of make a conscious effort to shield myself before I go shopping. He broke his foot, so I know.
Glad he's doing better,
which is fine.
Yeah,
no, he's good. But it sort of forced me to come out of that fear bubble and go back into the world.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. If you know how to shield yourself, it's good that you do. It is very good that you're able to do that, because I'm the same way. I'm empathic as well, and I have to shield myself.
I have to. I actually have I found there was a woman at work who was she was just not for me. And I found a sigil to banish the negativity, and I would write that over and over on my sheet. I would sort of carry it with me into meetings that I had to be with her, in the same area with her, because I just couldn't. It was so negative. It was toxic, and it's
draining on you. It's draining on you as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't live that way. I'm not a negative person by nature. So when it does break through and hit me, it sort of takes over, and I'm just I can't stand myself.
Well, I picked up on you when I met you initially. I took an instant liking to you. It was the energy, because I said, I like her. on many levels, and I couldn't have been more happy that you and Russ found each other. I love that my friends are happy and they're doing what they're doing. They're living their lives, and it makes me very, very happy, honestly. And when I met you, I said, okay, I like her very much. Like, I knew there was something about you that was just so genuine, and I felt that when I met you. We should talk about energy more even after the show, because I was recently reattuned in Reiki level 1 earlier this year, and I've been attuned.
I need to be reattuned. I need to be reattuned. I was on level 2.
Well, this is the thing. I have been practicing Reiki, just for friends and family since I got attuned back in massage school. And I've been reattuned a couple of times, and it's funny, and I know you'll agree with me on this, but there's a time and a place. Everything happens when it's supposed to. And I've always wanted to be a Reiki master and teacher level with Reiki. I love it. It just comes naturally to me. And every time I get to the opportunity of getting reattuned, I'm going to get the level 2, and so on and so forth. And something always prevents it, whether it's either finances, timing, or whatnot. And I always believed that when it's time for something to happen, like meeting the teacher or the student, or the teacher meeting the student, it's going to happen when it's supposed to. So long story short, or longer, I should say, I've recently reconnected with a friend on Facebook. He's coming back to New England, and hopefully everything works out the way it should. But he is a master teacher level of Reiki, and he's going to attune me with all of the additional levels and get me to that ranking. Because I told him, I said, on paper I'm level 1, but I said in reality I've been Reikiing with people for a long time, so I'm beyond the level 1. It's just I like to do it kind of the formal way, just go through the motions, go through each level with a teacher, because
there's a ceremonial feel to it.
Exactly.
To do it that way, and that's part of the journey too.
Yeah.
Is being able to complete those ceremonies and be able to say, you're wrapping it with a bow.
Exactly.
All the pieces are together.
Yes, and I'm really hoping that this happens. And we should we could do Reiki trades or whatnot. We can work together, because the energy work would be great, and it'll be healing and keeping us strong and things like that.
Absolutely. And that was why I did. When I went for my first Reiki class, they went around the room and asked everybody, why are you here? What's your goal? And I said I'm a nurse. But nurses, that there's some things that I can't heal. I want to be able to give a sort of holistic approach to my residents. And I don't really use it on patients at this point, because I'm in a different role now. But I still do for family and friends and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's wonderful, and it's good for you too, because when you help heal someone, you're healing yourself as well. So it's a nice circle of reciprocation type of deal.
Yeah.
You always, it's never you don't want to just take, you want to give too, and it's just nice to know that you're doing that for people and yourself, and helping others. It's what you do naturally, being the nurse and helping people. And like I said, I always knew you were a nice lady when I first met you. I was so happy to meet you. I was.
So obviously a very eclectic group of people.
Oh yeah.
That came along with it. That came along.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely one of, you are like top of the people that I met, through Russell.
Thank you. So
happy to meet you and to know you.
And everything happens for a reason. I think we're all supposed to be part of each other's lives for whatever the reason, whether it's a long period of time or a short period of time. I always felt like
a certain period of time.
Yeah, and it's just
that moment,
Absolutely. And you know, you never know. We're there to help each other or learn from each other. And I just, at this point in the game, I embrace these new opportunities and things like that. But I definitely want to talk more about the healing with you, maybe, you know, down the road. You know, but now we're getting to 2:00, and I know you have your little one. She probably wants to do some stuff with you, so I'm not going to tie you up too much longer. But I just wanted to thank you. Thank you very much for doing a call with me. I'm super excited. I'm going to put this piece this all together after we hang up, and I'm going to try to post it tonight if I can. If not, it'll be posted probably tomorrow, but definitely before. It'll definitely be by tomorrow night, the latest. And good luck with everything. And again, thank you for always being on the front lines and helping people the way you do. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too, please, and your mom.
Absolutely. And tell Russell, send Russell my love. Give him a hug for me, and tell your little cutie pie there. Tell her I said happy Halloween, and I hope she has a wonderful holiday season too. You guys, Thanksgiving and Christmas is coming up too, so you know.
Oh, I know. Oh, and a giant snowball.
Let's hope there's not a lot of snow, even though I think we're supposed to get a lot of snow. I don't know.
Yeah, or just, you know, it starts small and then it rolls downhill and it's Thanksgiving and then it's Christmas.
Oh, that kind of snowball.
And then it's New Year's. Yeah.
I thought you were actually talking
about. I do love the snow.
I hear him. I took you literal. I thought you were talking about the actual snow, but yeah, no, I'm actually ready for palm trees.
I was just going to say this from a woman who wants to live in palm trees and warm weather. I can see why you took it literal.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely one of these days. It's not really like a what if at this point. It's just a when. It's right now is not the time. When I'm on my own again, so to speak, that'll be when I go. You know, just want to be with the turquoise watermelon. What's that?
And you'll love it, and you'll be so happy.
Yes, and then you'll have to come visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leave Russell here with Daisy. It'll be a girls' weekend.
I'm in.
Or a long week. It doesn't matter to me. I'll be game for anything.
I'm in.
Nice. Done. All right. Well, listen, you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and don't hang up just yet. I'm just going to wrap it up here. And again, thank you for joining us. We'll have you again on the show. And everybody out there, stay safe, and we'll be seeing you on the Lily Pad.